Hi, I'm Pastor Danette, and we're going to be talking today about Romans 1:20. But before I get into the verse, I want to talk about what I reflected on as I was reading that verse today. And I was thinking about when I was at college at Michigan State University. And for those of you who don't know, I have a degree in environmental geosciences. I know, it's a little weird of a degree for a pastor, but that's my degree. And when I was a freshman at Michigan State, I was in a class. The class was Geology 201, and I was sitting in a lecture hall of about 600 people, and the professor was amazing. He was one of the best professors I had probably the whole time I was there. And the very first class, he introduced himself, introduced what our class was going to be about. And for the 2-hour lecture, I was riveted. I was spellbound by the way he presented, the information that he was giving. It was amazing. And at the end of the class, he spread his arms out wide and he said, "And that is why you can't be a geologist and be a Christian." And I was stunned because he hadn't talked about religion the entire conversation, the entire lesson. And it would be like as if somebody was like giving you a recipe, and then all of a sudden at the end they said, "And that's why you shouldn't ride a bike in a thunderstorm," or something equally ridiculous. It literally had nothing to do with what he had just been talking about for 2 hours. And so I was conflicted because everybody's getting up and they're packing up their stuff and getting ready to walk out, and there were some people milling about at the front, and I thought, I have to go say something. And then I thought, no, I don't have to go say, no, I have to go say something. And so I went up there, and there were people talking to him, and eventually he looked at me and I said, "Why did you say that?" And he said, "Say what?" And I said, "That you can't be a Christian and be a geologist." And he said, "You're the one." And I said, "What?" And he said, "There's always one. There's always one person who struggles with my class because their faith won't allow them to accept the things that I teach." And I said, "No, that's not it. I loved your lecture. I loved everything about it. I loved the science. I loved everything about it. I don't understand what you meant at the end." And he said, "No, you're going to struggle in my class. This is going to be hard. Your faith will not allow you to accept the things that I'm going to teach you this year." And I said, "No, that's not it, because my God is big enough to contain all these things that you're talking about and still be the creator of the universe." And I will tell you that teacher and I ended up having a great relationship. I stormed the doors of his office hours regularly. We had wonderful intellectual arguments often. I ended up doing an independent study with him where I worked in a lab, but I wrote a paper on how science does not compete with biblical beliefs. It was great. It was a great teacher-student relationship and an intellectual arguing kind of relationship. I say all that because Romans 1:20 says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." You see, geology is the study of the earth. It's the study of how the world was made and different things about it. And while I was studying to be an environmental geologist, we studied hydrogeology, we studied water, we studied how water works and how it behaves differently. We studied volcanoes, we studied all kinds of different things. And as I learned more and more about science, about the earth, about different aspects of science, it didn't make me question my faith. It fortified my faith. Because no matter what I learn with regard to science, that verse that I just shared, God's eternal power and his divine nature are clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. And we're without excuse. The more you understand both nature, science, medicine, the more you see it, and the more you understand what we still don't understand, the more you realize that there's no other explanation other than the fact that God has to be real.